Welcome to Ultimate Survival Gear. Today, as you guys can see, I have something from Salomon. I love this brand, always happy to review something from them. Let's get into it. Open up the box and see what we got. We have today over here Salomon X Raise GTX, and as you can see this time, it's the low version. Yes, probably about 6 months ago I reviewed Salomon X Raise, and it was a mid-size GTX version, and I absolutely loved it. This is their low version. Let's get into the review. As some of you already know, this is not just any kind of regular review. This review is specifically for my Ultimate Survival boots section. Yes, basically, if this wasn't just your regular hiking shoe, whatever, but maybe you were hiking in it, maybe you had it in a house and something bad happened. You put it on, you leave the house, and now you have to walk for miles until you get to the safety. You have to fight on the way, you have to climb on the way. You wear this without taking them off for, I don't know, 7 days straight. Would they be good for all of that? Would they help you survive, or would they get you killed? Well, how do we make the judgment? We make the judgment based on 8 different criteria. Let's begin. Criteria number 1, of course, comfort level. And in order to test the comfort level of all the boots and shoes that I review on this channel, I do a 3-mile run, non-stop, no pauses in between, and then a 5-mile walk, no stop, no pauses in between, and then I continue wearing the shoes for the rest of the day, so that the total wear time is about 8 hours. And like I said, I don't know if I said it already or not, the previous version, the mid-size version, I loved it. It was fantastic, the comfort level was great, and these right here are no exception. Very, very comfortable, very lightweight, and speaking of the weight, let's start with that, because it's very important. The scale over here, this is, by the way, size 10, and size 10 is 12.5. Check this out. Now, to give you reference numbers, you are looking for something under 20 ounce whenever it comes to the boots, and you are looking for something that is around 10 ounce whenever it comes to shoes. So 12.5 is more towards heavier for the shoe, but overall it is still very, very lightweight whenever it comes to overall shoe wear, whatever you're wearing on your feet, right? When you get over 20 ounce, depending on how much over, 21, 22, 23, not that bad, but still, the more you add up, the more you kind of start feeling that fatigue after a certain amount of time, especially if you are out on a hike for, anything over couple of miles, right? Nothing like easy walk in the park type of hike. So this is actually really, really good, considering that all the protection that they provide, considering the waterproofing, considering the very, very bulky outsole, which we'll talk about later. This is really good. Moving on, we have our flexibility of the outsole. And as you can see here, besides being so bulky, it is actually very flexible. Not only it is very flexible, you also have a very proper creasing positioning here, so whenever you are running, you can actually run properly in these shoes without any problems. These are not advertised as trail running shoes, these are advertised as hiking shoes, but as trail running shoes, I love these. You can use them as trail running shoes without any problems because they're lightweight and the outsole is fantastic. Moving on to the inner sole, that's another thing that contributes to the comfort level. I'm gonna take it out. This is an ortholite inner sole. Ortholite is kind of a moisture weakening technology that prevents bacteria from spreading, so it's pretty good. However, I really wish that there was a little bit more heel support and arch support in this, because this is very, very soft, very kind of flimsy, and there was a little bit more cushioning. Not a lot of cushioning here. Once you take it out, it goes straight into the harder midsole, so I just wish a little bit more cushioning, I think, would be better. Speaking of the cushioning, we got padding at the tongue, padding here at the shaft, at the back of the heel, makes it very comfortable, and then throughout the whole boot, this fabric is very soft. Still get them in the right size, because you do have that front cap over here for the protection, which we'll talk about later, so you don't want to touch it from the inside, because, if you're walking for extended periods of time and your toe is touching the inside of the toe box, you're gonna get fatigue. So you definitely don't want that. So overall, on the comfort level, as always, Salomon, that they do a fantastic job, and this boot right here, shoe, is no exception. Let's move on to the criteria number 2 now, proofing and protection. Now, proofing wise, yes, these are waterproof, and you probably noticed GORE-TEX, GTX waterproofing, fancy waterproofing technology, quality waterproofing technology. So far, in my experience, it has been one of the best waterproofing technologies out there. Basically, it's a special membrane that is implemented into the fabric. Still keeps the shoe or boot breathable, lightweight, which is usually what is compromised whenever you do the waterproofing. Now, speaking of the waterproofing, we have our gusseting over here on the tongue, as you can see, and it is about, let's see if we can measure that gusseting. It's about 4 inches from the ground, and then the lowest part of the shaft is about 3.5 inches. So overall, great job. They utilized all of the length of the shaft for the waterproofing clearance, so no complaints there at all. Now, speaking of the protection, we have our protective toe cap at the very front, which is going to be great on a rocky road, especially if you're trail running on a rocky road. You have this fabric going kind of for extra, a little bit of reinforcement, not as soft as this part. Still, it's very soft. Don't drop anything on the top of your toe because you're gonna feel it. But yeah, this is pretty good. I really do like it. And then, of course, you have plenty of protection here at the bottom outsole, which we'll talk about later. Nothing, of course, in the shaft because this is low rise. So no protection for the ankles, and your heel is nicely reinforced. Let's move on to the criteria number 3, quality and the design features. Now, quality-wise, Amazon link is in the description below. Click on it, check it out. Over 400 positive reviews, almost 5 stars. So people do like these shoes, and I mean, I think Salomon is the most reviewed brand on this particular channel. I love it. So far, I didn't really have anything major complaints whenever it comes to them, quality-wise. And my main boot, Ultimate Survival boot that I use pretty much on a daily basis is Salomon X Ultra 3 Meet GTX. I probably mixed up those. There's too much stuff going on. But I love Salomon brand. They really are good. And by the way, speaking of the links in the description below, you will notice that I have the Amazon link and I have a Salomon website link. I've noticed that sometimes on Salomon website, the prices are actually cheaper, and also sometimes what is not available on Amazon, colors, whatever, sizing, is available on Salomon. So now I post both of them just for your convenience. So check it out. Speaking of the design features now, as you notice here, we have our Quicklace system. Check this out. I love the Quicklace system. All you do is you pull on it, you tighten this thing, and then this thing goes underneath this little rubber piece, and there, you're ready to roll. Now, usually with a Quicklace system, Salomon, they implement a pocket at the front of the tongue here where you can roll this thing up and stuff it. Not in this shoe for whatever reason. I kind of wish that there was a pocket just so that you have options either in the tongue here or underneath this. Would be great. Not a big deal. Just kind of throwing it out there. Okay, so down with the quality and the design features. Let's move on to the outsole, the criteria number 4, outsole traction and stability. So, whenever I do my run and my walk, I do it on a variety of different surfaces. I start with older asphalt, then the newer tarmac, then dry sand, wet sand, dry grass, wet grass, rocky road, trail surface, concrete, marble tile, rubber, and the rock wall. Excellent outsole. I mean, as good as it can get, really. If you really want to kind of have an idea of a good, really good quality hiking, boot, shoe, trail running, anything really like outdoors that you are doing, this is the outsole you need to look at. I mean, it's as good as it gets. It's very nicely balanced between aggression and flatness. As you can see, these grooves are very aggressive, but at the same time, it's pretty flat. So what does it do? It gives you good stability on slippery stuff, like wet grass, but at the same time, on sandy surfaces, on muddy surfaces, you don't really have anything where that stuff sinks in, gets you stuck, gets you kind of heavy and unbalanced, slippery. You don't have that stuff here. And also, I wanted to point out something that you wouldn't really kind of even think about. These grooves right here in the center, as you can see, these channels, what they do is they give you some pretty good stability on flat and shiny surfaces, which you wouldn't even worry about in these kind of shoes, but it's a nice plus to have. Why not? After all, this is ultimate survival boot, so as versatile outsole as it can get, the better, right? And this is definitely the case here. You probably notice the ridges here for some rope climbing or whatever you're climbing. Definitely helps. Very sharp front, very aggressive. Again, pretty good for climbing stuff. And you have extra kind of aggression here at the extended heel, which some people like. I really kind of, neutral on this. I don't mind it. If it wasn't there, I wouldn't care. If it was normal, I wouldn't care. But with this, I really don't mind it. I don't really see much of extra that is accomplished with this heel, but it's up to you. If you like it, you like it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Overall, excellent outsole, and the quality of this rubber is it's a very tough rubber. So excellent job, Salomon, with the outsole as always. Let's move on to the criteria number 5 really quickly. Temperature. Obviously, not winter boot shoe at all. Yes, they're waterproof. Yes, you can probably get away with some insulated socks in some mild cold temperatures, but they're not insulated. Yes, they're waterproof. How they gonna handle on ice and snow? They will be fine on the snow, although keep in mind the clearance, because you probably want a little bit taller for snowy situations. On the ice, obviously there isn't really much, unless it's ice boot specifically with some steel spikes, then pointless to talk about. But in the hot weather, excellent. So easily 3-season hiking shoe, just perfect. Moving on to the criteria number 6 really quickly, the sizing. Yes, these are true to the size. Yes, I would recommend getting half a size bigger for yourself, just so they have a little bit of extra space here at the front of the toe box. It will be good for you, just so that you kind of not touching this harder piece at the very front. Okay, let's move on to the criteria number 7 now. One of the most important, balance of application. So if this really was your ultimate survival shoe, would it be good for your survival? Would it contribute to your survival, or would it get you killed? I love this. I honestly love this. Personally, if I would be getting the X Raise, I would probably go with a mid-size, just so that I have extra kind of ankle protection. I know some people prefer shoes just so on like an everyday, day-to-day basis, because they're lighter, because they're easier kind of to wear. You don't have that much going around. But because of you already kind of have much in these going around with all this heel, with the massive outsole, with all of this, you might as well just get a mid-size version, in my opinion. But if you are specifically looking for waterproof hiking shoes, something comfortable, something lightweight, something with a fantastic outsole, I mean, this right here, probably one of the best options. And speaking one of the best options, let's get into the next criterion, criteria number 8, the price. $130, definitely worth every dollar. $130, you are getting an excellent shoe. Like I said, I would get the mid-size version, but if you're specifically for the shoe, this is great. Is there a competition in that price range? Yeah, there are some great hiking shoes from La Sportiva, from Jack Wolf, from Merrell, from Keen. There's a lot of good stuff. Even from Salomon, it kind of gets overwhelming because there's so many good shoes from literally just Salomon in the same price range, in the same category. So it really kind of makes it hard to make a choice. But if you're looking at these, if you are interested, just, get them and you're not going to be disappointed. They are really, 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 really good. So can't go wrong. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you think about this review? What do you think about the Salomon X Raise GTX shoes. If you have any requests, drop them in the comments below and I will be happy to address them. Thank you very much guys for watching. This was Ultimate Survival Gear. I'll see you guys in the next video.